Hi, it's the Lipstick Gal. Thanks for watching today. I've been kind of running through my brain of the sorts of videos I like to watch and thought about maybe making some of those. And one of my favorites is like over $1,000 of makeup. When I see those videos, I'm like, what? How? And then I started picking out all of the most expensive things in my collection. And I was like, oh, I see how that's possible. For a makeup lover, it's really easy to do. So I thought we would do that today. Before we get started though, I wanted to say thank you for watching and thank you for being subscribed. And if you aren't already, just click that subscribe button down below. All right, so I've got a list in front of me because I had to make sure I was organized of everything I'm using today. And I'm gonna be using sometimes 2 of every product, not always, but sometimes, especially like for base products, I was like, I want to get just that perfect look, and so we'll be using more than one. And one of my most favorite primers is from Lancome. It's the Prep and Matte. This is $35. I was like, ugh. I use it on my nose. Out of my entire face, everything tends to be normal, but I get a lot of oils right around here. So I take it down my septum, corners of my nose, all over and across, like right into my pores, just to keep that area matte. And the next thing I thought I would do is use the Tatcha Silk Canvas. Oh, this is one that I have not been using recently, and you really don't need a lot. I lost the little purple spatula scoopy thing that comes with it, which means I'm probably using more than I need to, but I love the way it makes my skin feel. All right, so for foundation today, I thought I'd use a couple of different things. One of my favorite all-time foundations is the Light Wonder from Charlotte Tilbury, and this is what I use like for a natural glowy look. So I'm gonna put this everywhere. And the other one I'm gonna use is one I haven't reached for in, oh, I don't know, maybe since last winter. It's been a while, is the Hourglass Vanish Foundation Stick. I have this in the shade Blanc, and I'm worried it might be a little too fair for me. I spent more time outside last summer than I had like any summer, and it has seriously affected the state of my skin. So we're just going to bounce this everywhere, and then we'll add a little bit of the Vanish on top where we need to for a little extra coverage. All right, so the places that I need a little bit more foundation, I'm going to use this stick because it's really potent. You don't really need a lot of it. And here's what's interesting. It's only 1/4 of an ounce, and it's $46 for 1/4 of an ounce. So I have some redness on my nose, a little extra redness on my chin. I'm going to put some of that there. And I do have some hyperpigmentation spots I'm trying to treat with skincare. But today, to make them go away, we'll just put a little extra foundation in those spots. What's funny is that as I was thinking about doing this, I was realizing that instead of using multiple products, sometimes in an effort to just kind of get going and get out the door, I make a single product multitask for me. I just make it work extra hard. So I'll use a concealer in many of these places as opposed to putting on another layer of foundation or a different type of foundation that tends to be a little bit thicker or higher coverage. And that's, I think it's kind of funny. Oh yeah, this is definitely a little lighter than my skin can handle. I could probably stand to go down a shade or 2 in this foundation right now. So I spent 5 years in bed with constant headaches. And when you do that, you don't see the light of day. I was literally sleeping 16 hours a day, and my skin went from being, you know, like the shade any normal fair-skinned person's gonna be to like, I felt like a vampire. I felt like I was like rising out of the coffin every day that I was actually out in the sun. And of course I already wear SPF 50 every day. And although I didn't wear a lot of makeup in those 5 years where I was sleeping 16 hours a day, 4 brain surgeries, headaches, it's a lot of drama. Better now, by the way, just in case you were wondering. But it really, really changed my skin, and last summer was the first summer I was out and about, and since then I've seen more hyperpigmentation spots kind of pop up like right here on the tops of my cheeks, a couple spots over here over my eyebrows. This one here I've had for a long time, but you know what? A little Vanish foundation stick and it's almost not there at all. For concealers, I was sure I was going to have some crazy expensive concealer, but I remember wanting to purchase the Clé de Peau concealer stick, and they didn't have a shade fair enough for me. So the most expensive one I have is from Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Retoucher. It's $35, and it's like just $1 more expensive than her more recent Magic Away concealer, which is like, really? So we're going to put a little bit of this under the eyes. And I find that on days where I'm wearing like just the Light Wonder foundation and this, it works because it's more of a natural skin look. But since I put on some of that Vanish stick, I might need a little bit more in the concealing department. Oh, and I had a little zip crop up over the weekend, so we'll put a little Heidi on there. I just want to hide that thing. Cannot have that just raising its ugly head. I feel like I need just a hair more coverage, just like right here in the inner corners. So I'm going to use this Cover FX Power Play. I am not really a fan of how I feel like foundation is always all over the applicator wand and not at the tip on this really oddly shaped ball that fits perfectly right in there, I will add. And I'm not one to like over conceal either. Maybe you love this because a lot comes out. I dislike it for that very reason. I'm just going to set my under eyes with the Airbrush Flawless Finish from Charlotte Tilbury. This is one of my favorite powders, and I especially love it for under the eyes. I'm just going to tap out, make sure nothing is settling into my creases before we set it there permanently for the rest of the day with some powder. I've done that before. I've been in a hurry and I'm like, oh, I just set my crease. And everything catches in my little crinkles, and then I put powder over it, and it's like a really standout line of product. This is great all over the face, by the way. I really do love it for all over the face. I might just throw a little bit here on the lids as well. And for a long time, this was like the only powder I was using on my face. But I realized at its price point, 45 bucks, I should use it for more targeted areas as opposed to just kind of plowing through it. But I like that it really is a very lightweight, gorgeous powder. And for all over the face, I have been loving the Hourglass Veil Translucent Finishing Powder. This is one of those that I just take a big floofy brush and just kind of plop it everywhere. I'm going to throw in a little contour today. This is not something that I do every single day, but one of my favorite contour shades is from Charlotte Tilbury. It's this powder one here. If I remember to not set my face yet, I do like her liquid contour wand, which to me is like a magic wand. I love it. But since we're already set, we're just going to throw a little bit of this on instead. One bronzer that I forgot how much love I have for is the Tantastic Omega Bronzer from Marc Jacobs. This is one of those that is warm but not too warm. I feel like it's a really beautiful all over bronzer, and it's a really gorgeous formulation. So I like to kind of fluff this everywhere. Mine still slightly smells of coconut. I remember when this first came out, I remember seeing Sophie on Trend Mood talk about this. This was, I think, a couple of years ago. I was like, I have to have that. And so I set an alarm on my phone. I think out of bronzers, this is one of my favorites, but I haven't used it in a while, and I forgot how good it was. I really love this bronzer. So there were a lot of ways I could have put on blush today. I was thinking about Hourglass blushes, and then it just came down to highest price point. And we're back to Charlotte Tilbury. I feel like Hourglass and Charlotte Tilbury really are at the high end for me, because I don't purchase any YSL, Dior, Guerlain other than lip products. And I should, but I'm on a no buy. So we're just going to throw a little bit of this. This is the Cheek to Chic. This is my favorite shade. This one's called Sex on Fire. And Charlotte, maybe we'll do Charlotte's preferred method of applying blush. Where's my blush brush? Yeah, this will work. So you swish it around the outer side. That goes on the cheekbone, kind of up in this area. And then that center spot. And in some of the blushes, it's a lighter shade, and some of them it's a darker shade. I'm gonna hold this so I can see what I'm doing. You put that right on the apple. That was too much. I do that every now and again. Actually, I'm like a blush fiend, and I end up like having to buff over everything because I apply cheek products way too heavily. But as a child of the 80s, I believe in bright blush. I do. So for highlighters, I have been in love with this. This is the highlighting palette from Charlotte Tilbury, and it's basically the Bar of Gold palette. And it's not exactly like her original Bar of Gold. This white gold here is a little bit lighter, and this more bronzy gold at the end is a little bit darker. And of course, the pink one in the center is nowhere near any of it. But I love this so much, so much. So what I usually do is I just kind of sweep across all of them, and then I just hit the high points. I love this highlight. It's just gorgeous. All right, I'm going to do something that this is one of the things that I have started doing at this point, and I have never ever gotten into the habit of doing my eyes first. That would change everything. But this is when I like to spray a little setting spray on my face, and I'm using the Photo Finish Primer Water from Smashbox because it helps to take down some of that ultra powderiness when I buff and I wear a lot of powder face products. Oh, I got some in my eyeball. Don't do that. And then I just fan it. All right, I feel like we have a little windblown hair going on, but I do feel like the face looks a little, oh, there's a larger spot, a little bit more overall believable. And by the way, if you get a large water droplet, I just spray a little extra setting spray on this, on a beauty sponge, and then just kind of tap over those places. Not too much, but it helps to kind of blend in. If you get a large water droplet, all you can do is see that little spot standing out. That's what I like to do. All right, from there, I thought we'd do some eyes, and I was going to use a combination of two palettes. These are the most expensive palettes that I own, and they're Pat McGrath. So I have the Sublime, which is the Mothership 10-pan palette. I do really love this, but I don't use it that often, and I feel like I could kick myself for that. This is the one that I use more frequently because I'm at the point now where too many options, and it looks like this. This one's called Bronze Ambition. It's the Sublime Bronze Ambition, so they go together really well. And I feel like, for me, oh, Mate Pack Pot. Oh, I can't talk. I'm going to put on a paint pot from MAC just to prime my lids. Because these are the sort of steps that I don't do every day, and when you start adding in all of these steps, all of a sudden it's like, oh yes, I can see where that $1,000 price point comes from. I'm going to start with the darkest brown shade from the Mothership palette, the big one, and lightly put that kind of in the outside here. Then I'm going to pop on this more orangey shade here in the middle, kind of all throughout the rest of my crease. Bring a little more warmth to the look. When I feel like shadows are getting a little too close to my brow bone, I always bring in a little bit of the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless powder because it's really good at kind of helping to blend those edges. And it's my skin tone, but it's also matte, but also not flat. I don't know. I feel like it's magic. I feel like out of both of her powders, this one should have been called the magic powder. I think I'm going to use one of the golds from the smaller palette first, and then we see how we do. If you ever get any fallout, a little fan brush will just blend it in, apparently. Usually it just whisks it away, but most of the shimmer is gone now. I I used to do that, used to work perfectly all the time. Today must not be my day. There is a really gorgeous shimmery white in this right here. I'm going to use maybe these two down here, one of these two to kind of tap over the lid, and this in my inner corner. I haven't used these more transformative, interesting formulas that nobody else has in a long time, so we'll see what we get when we plop these on. So here goes the white in the inner corner. Oh, it has a bit of a pink to it. That's interesting. Maybe it's time to do some brows. I was thinking liner and I was like, oh, let's not finish our eye look and have like no brows on. So what I thought I would do is use a combination of Benefit products. This is the Precisely My Brow Pencil. And we're just gonna run a little bit of this through here. I'm gonna use a little bit of their Foolproof Brow Powder as well, the darker of the two shades, to kind of help fake more of a brow towards the edge, and then we'll set it all with the Gimme Brow. Feel better with brows? Do you ever do that? It's like, oh, I knew I was missing something. It's weird. There were years that I didn't wear brow products at all, and it's kind of like, what was I thinking? I don't know. All right, so I'm going to sharpen this pencil, tell you a little bit about it. This is the Lancome Drama Liqui-Pencil. It's one of my favorite just regular kohl pencils. It's really creamy. It's like a gel pencil. So I use it in my tight line. And it helps to fake the look of a thicker lash line because my lashes are kind of like, meow. For liquid liner today, I'm going to use the Lancome Grandiose liner. This is one that I know it's crazy expensive for a liquid liner, but it's this itty bitty, impossibly tiny little baby point. If you know of one that lasts really well, but also has this really firm but still flexible felt tip, I feel like there's something magical about the felt tips that Lancome uses. Because I know that L'Oreal is the parent company of Lancome, and sometimes you'll find similar things at the drugstore for certain products. And I've tried the L'Oreal liners that look similar to the art liners from Lancome and the felt tips. And for me, it's all about the applicator. Like, I need a good formula too, don't get me wrong, but I am not a winged liner, liquid liner, like, fanatic, so I don't do it very regularly, but when I do it, it makes it easier for me if the applicator just helps the process. And I find like this one really does. And we're just going to go for the smallest little baby flick here. You may not even think that it's a flick, but for me it is. So for mascara today, I'm going to start with the primer, and this primer I've had for a long time. Well, not this primer, but I've used this primer from Lancome. This is their Cils Booster XL. I've had it, multiples of it, and I keep buying it. I even have a backup. I don't know if you can see it. It's like right here in my mascara jar, because if I don't poke myself in the eyeball, I really feel like it works. Now, it's been a long time since I've used it, because usually I can't be bothered to do more than just mascara. If I want to put on primer and then mascara, it takes a lot. But I like the way this one works. So I don't ever feel like I have my full face on without a good mascara, and my favorite mascara is the one from Lancome, the Monsieur Big. Now, I know that there are other really great mascaras out there. I've tried the Hourglass one, the Hourglass Caution. That one is fantastic, but I don't have it right now. I also do like one of the Dior, the Iconic Overcurl. Also, I don't have that one on hand either. But this one is the one that I've purchased. I don't know, this might be my 6th tube, and I have a backup in my mascara jar. I love this mascara. So lipstick is the last thing that I have, and it's expensive, but to me it's disappointing. Not the liner, I love the liner. The liner, by the way, is from Lipstick Queen. This is just their regular lip liner, and I have the shade Bare Nude. I'm gonna throw that on. All right, so lipstick is one of those things that I love with wild abandon, and I have been wanting to try more higher end lipsticks. Like my most expensive lipsticks have been like the Pat McGrath or the YSL or Lipstick Queen. And the Lipstick Queens kind of run in that $50 range for like the really like high-end ones, and then everything else is like $34 or $38. And then I found this. This is from Clé de Peau, and this is their extra rich lipstick, and it comes like this, but the lipstick itself, this right here is the refill. This costs $40, and the packaging, which I can hardly get back together, costs $25. So altogether it's $65 for this lipstick. And I was like, really? Really? Because the plastic packaging, it's like the Guerlain lipstick. Where are you? My idea of high-end packaging is like this. This is the Rouge Gigi lipstick from Guerlain, and this is like in the $50-something range. It even has like a little mirror built in, and there's no like sticker on here at all. The back side is like engraved with what shade it is, what number the shade is, that it's Guerlain. I'm like, that's how you do high-end packaging. This, on the other hand, the plastic packaging was really like, kind of like, wow, really? $65 for this? It's a beautiful shade. I'm not gonna lie, it's a beautiful shade. But I don't think that the formula is a $40 formula. Or I should call it a $65 formula, because who wants to carry just this without an actual cap on it in their purse? Because it would be like this in your purse. No one's gonna do that. You do need the case to go with it. So there we go. It is a beautiful lipstick, but I always use this with the gloss that I got at the same time. This is the Radiant Liquid Rouge from Clé de Peau, and we'll throw a little bit of this over the top. So here you go. This is my full face of over $1,000 in makeup, and looking at it here, it's a lot. On a normal everyday, I'd use probably less than half of this, maybe even only a third of this on my face, because I don't look like this if you were to run into me at the grocery store. I don't. Now, if I'm going out for an outing, if I'm going on a date night with my husband, if I'm going to a birthday party for a friend and we're stepping out, I do like to amp it up a little bit. But every day, this is what I wear when I'm filming. And on the days that I'm wearing my kind of everyday makeup, and maybe that's what I should do, is an everyday makeup tutorial, kind of like my easy, this is what I wear on the daily. So you can actually see that as well. But I'll tell you, I always love pulling out products that make me feel fancy schmancy. Things that make me go, oh, how I love you. You know, the ones that just steal my heart altogether. I love these products, and I like that I have them in my collection, and I can actually just pull them out and go, yes, you're worth every single penny. And then there are some other ones, and I just talked about it. This Clé de Peau lipstick, it's not a bad lipstick, and I think right now I'm feeling more the gloss. I really do like the gloss, but I think there are other great glosses that are not as expensive as this. I feel at this point, now this does have really gorgeous packaging on it. The beveled packaging at the top and the bottom, the gradient here that goes flat, that ombre from black to clear so you can see the actual shade of the product itself. I think the packaging for this is beautiful. The packaging for this is a big wah wah, like, so sad. Why did you waste your money? And the formula on the inside, although it's a nice lipstick, it's not the best lipstick I own. And for the price, that's what I would want. There are some other things here, like everything else that I use. I forgot how good this was. Obviously, the shade is too light for me. I cannot use Blanc anymore. Now that I've entered the world of the living and I spend a little bit of time in the sun. And remember, I wear SPF 50 every day, and I recommend that you do the same. Makeup, no makeup, and don't ever expect the foundation that you have that has SPF in it, or any products that you put on your face, to be enough. Because if you use a moisturizer with SPF, it's never going to be enough. So use a dedicated SPF. That's my PSA for the day. Just my friendly from me to you. All right, but I love this foundation. I just need a shade that matches me now. I mean, I could make that work, and I can't imagine paying $46 for a quarter of an ounce and not finishing it up because it is so expensive. But come summertime, that shade won't work for me at all. There'll be no making it work then. No amount of bronzer is going to bring that back to life. But the truth is, I forgot how so many of these products really are fantastic. I know they're like otherworldly expensive, like really. But I do find that when I pull something out that I know I spent a lot of money on and it performs really well, it just makes me go, and it's like my little bit of extra to make myself feel fantastic. Some people, you know, spend a lot of money on jewelry. Some people spend a lot of time and money getting their nails done because it makes them feel fantastic, or they wear gorgeous lingerie. I tend to really wear gorgeous makeup because it makes me feel fantastic. Thank you so much for watching today. I would love to know what you do for yourself that is luxurious and decadent. And it doesn't have to be makeup related. That's what my video was about. But is it reading a book cover to cover without being disturbed? Is it kind of like, no chores today, I get like a day of hooky? I've done that before and I feel like the best and the worst parent ever, where I'm like, we're getting takeout for dinner. We're not doing chores today. Someone can do dishes tomorrow. When I have a day like that, I feel like it's one of the ultimate decadent things. So let me know what your splurge, your decadent, your luxury moment is. It doesn't have to be expensive, doesn't have to be makeup, in the comments down below. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being subscribed. And again, if you aren't, would you please? And I'll see you again soon. Bye.